Hello and welcome to a special edition of the Monthly Mindfulness. My name is Cecily Selmer, and I'm a mind and body technician here at Yale New Haven Health. Um, and welcome and happy 10 days of gratitude. And typically we run these monthly mindfulness sessions the second Wednesday of every month, but because we are here with the 10 days of gratitude, we're going to go ahead and run it today and just kind of kick things off a little bit and really talk about gratitude. And then we'll do a meditation reflecting upon that. So again, it's set up in such a way here that what we do is it's about 45 minutes. And in that 45 minutes, the first half, typically, I go ahead and do a little PowerPoint presentation, kind of talk about whatever it is the topic is that we are discussing, whether it be breathing techniques, relaxation, communication, whatever need to talk about or feel like we need to talk about is also welcome. If you ever feel like, interjecting, by all means, please do. And then the second half, typically about 20 minutes, we're going to go ahead and do a meditation. Sometimes it can be difficult if you are new to the practice or new to even a seasoned veteran, you can have a tough time. And I know that I do from time to time, really quieting the mind and kind of finding a place that is comfortable. And that we are able to, just give ourselves some space. So keep at it. And we do have the daily take 10s as well, which is Monday through Friday. So please join us. And those are just 10-minute little snippets. Great way to kind of assess and bring us back to center. So without further ado, I'm going to start out with here. Oh, PowerPoint presentation. Interesting. So interesting to me, the entire idea of gratitude and what it really brings to us as I was looking into this a little bit more. So again, um, attitude of gratitude, something that's been discussed or things that have been mentioned before. I have, and throughout there was my kids are in swimming, and there was a swim coach years ago who is a Olympic medalist, and it's something he had a presentation regarding attitude of gratitude and how to be grateful for what you have and how it really brings back and drives everything home and reframes your focus. And I have to say, at the time, I can't say that I was completely, you know, I completely understood it, and I can't tell you that I do even to this point because, there's challenges every day. But I love that saying, attitude of gratitude, and just to be mindfully grateful, not just grateful, but really to pause and to bring it into the center of who we are. And again, my name is Cecily Selmer. The question is, what is a mind and body technician? I will have to say that for Yale New Haven Health, I do massage therapy, Reiki, and meditation services. So it's a kind of encompasses, again, mind and body. And no for the Employee and Family Resource Program. So what is gratitude? A word that's often used. And it's just the practice of recognizing and appreciating the positive aspects of life, big and small. It really involves awareness, presence, and intention. And that's why the idea of mindful and gratitude goes together so well, because if someone's mindfully grateful, it's almost redundant. If we really stop and slow ourselves down and try to set our own pace for life versus jumping in and letting life pace us, it's much easier to be aware, to be present, to be intentional, and also to be grateful. And I have a couple of slides as we go through, and this is just one of those pictures. When I was thinking about stopping, pausing, um, being aware and also connected. It's us as humans and us as and any living being, really being aware. And I thought about I have to say, I thought about how animals connect with their environment and with each other, and how they are instinctual and aware, and they have to be in order for their survival. And so something that, just to get back to that a little bit, can help us to almost be the perfect specimen if we can kind of grab into that intuitive nature of our that we have, and also use our conscious mind to stop and be grateful, and then bring in a little bit of our instincts to do the same thing. We can kind of, you know, be the perfect storm, if you will, as human beings. But I just love this picture too of the animals and how they can feel the same, and pause for a moment to just be grateful for that connection. So let's talk about, just for a moment here, what gratitude does for the brain, the nervous system, the body, and I'm going to go through that. So it's very interesting. Being grateful, saying thank you, pausing, it actually activates areas in the brain that are linked to happiness and reward. So anytime something positive happens, um, we get these surges of dopamine and serotonin. You might have heard of them before, as relates to depression, anxiety, and that lower level of those as it relates to depression and anxiety. The opposite is going to be, nice, sustainable levels of dopamine and serotonin, and that can be brought upon with things like gratitude, like pausing, getting rewards, this little bit of happiness. And sometimes happiness might be an extreme form of this, but something else is going to be, you increase your dopamine and serotonin through saying thank you for things. So it's not necessarily have to be huge things. They can be small things, and we're going to check that out a little later. Some ideas, um, just to bring ourselves back to center and see if we can gain a little bit of dopamine, gain a little bit of serotonin, so we feel up and feel ready to go, naturally. So the effects on the nervous system, that's another thing. I'm not sure if anyone's heard of the cortisol. It's kind of a big word right now in a lot of different, medicine. I see it a lot on different advertisements that maybe it's, because of the business I'm in, but at the same time, a stress hormone like cortisol. So practicing gratitude, meaning stopping, pausing, and being grateful and thankful for all that we have been given. And that doesn't mean not acknowledging those shortcomings or things that aren't going our way, because we've all been given those days. We've all been given days where nothing seems to go right. You know, the coffee, we're out of half and half of the coffee, followed by, you know, uh, the dog runs, is out of treats, so they're not listening to go for a walk, followed by get in the car and there's a check engine light on, followed by, it seems to go in days like that. So it doesn't mean not acknowledging that those things do exist and life does happen that way. It just means, um, bringing a little bit of a practice and a conscious effort into seeing those little moments of pleasantries and good things that happen, and then being grateful for those things. And that can also reduce the stress hormones like cortisol. So we're able to relax a little bit easier. So it's incredible how just saying thank you can, so again, boost serotonin and dopamine, and then reduce things like cortisol and other stress hormones. And I brought this picture up only because, we are just a bunch of circuits. We are electrical impulses. We are different circuits throughout the brain and throughout the body that need to be regulated. And I have to say, with the way life is and all of the things coming in at every moment, all of the expectations, all the things that can we the way how we are pulled as people in every direction, um, it can pull on that circuitry. It can have things out of balance and out of whack. And I'm sure we've all felt it from time to time, where, we're overextended, and we're such delicate creatures, but yet at the same time, I feel like as human beings, we're incredibly resilient. So even when our circuitry isn't fully functioning, we're able to still keep going. But that's not what we want here. We want to, by practicing mindfulness, by practicing gratitude, we want to be able not only just to survive, but to thrive, to be the best people that we can be, not feeling good, because so we can give of ourselves and we can also receive. So, and it's amazing because I thought about this for a few moments as I was looking at different pictures. And I was thinking about, and I mentioned the check engine light because I have a check engine light in my car, and come to find out it's something electrical. So it's just one circuit. It's something's going on with it. There seems to have gotten some moisture in this panel, in this circuitry panel in my car. So I was thinking about it, and I was thinking my car is not running properly, and it's really not able to operate very well at all, um, because one circuit is out. There's one misfiring. And we as people are such multidimensional people that we're able to still function even when things aren't exactly perfect. And so this is magical. At the same time, why not try to get things so they are they are firing close to 100%? We all deserve it. We all deserve to be fully functioning and having that go on from electrical perspective. So one of the ways, again, going back to, is to be mindful and to practice gratitude so we can, again, lower that cortisol, that fight or flight hormone, and raise our serotonin and our dopamine, our feel good chemicals. So moving on, just really thinking about us human beings as a whole. We are not only mental beings, but we have, as part of our whole physical body, other parts of our body. So being grateful and practicing gratitude can help uh, sleep. I'm not sure anybody who would say they don't want to sleep a little bit better, more restfully. Maybe you do fall asleep and wake up worrying. Well, imagine if you stop for a second, instead of waking up and start letting all of those thoughts worrying, grab those thoughts and say, you know what? Not right now. I'm going to make a list of what I'm grateful for. What went right today? What worked for me today? Who helped me today? Uh, you know, what what moment of could have gone another way, and it didn't. It went the way that graced my life. So to stop and be grateful for those things. And it's easier sometimes than others. But that way we can, if we practice something like that, or we can take notes in the middle of the night if we're not able to sleep well, or right before we go to bed, I'm going ahead and kind of doing a dump journal where we dump everything out that went on the day, but then plan the next day about the positive, set the tone for the next day. So not too long ago, I saw a research study that was by Harvard Medical, and they did a study on people, what the predictor of people having a quote unquote good day. What was considered successful, what was considered a good day, was having minimal worries, being able to function fully, having lower blood pressure, in an overall general sense of well-being, all the things that you see here. And one of the things that was noted was not necessarily the dump journal, like I mentioned, getting rid of everything, but also projecting on to the next day. So again, we're going to touch on this a little bit later. Having a journal for ourselves, writing down, what I have done from time to time is I have a notebook, and one side I will dump everything out, possibly complain. This didn't go. I couldn't take this. This isn't. I'm grateful for this. Whatever comes to my mind. And then the other side of the journal is just going to be, how's tomorrow going to go? And it's not necessarily a to-do list, which you can incorporate that if you'd like to, but also tomorrow's going to be a great day. Tomorrow, 5/8/2026, peace. So that finding peace, something, your intention for the next day coming up. So using gratitude as part of that practice can set the tone for our days and really give us taking control of our mind as well. And that will give us better sleep, lower blood pressure, improved immune response, and just feeling all over better. I'm touching on this once again. Living in gratitude, being grateful can reduce the symptoms of anxiety, depression, improve our resilience, and promote a positive outlook. I'm not sure if you've ever noticed that, again, it does come things that just aren't, when they're not going your way, they kind of come in groups, you know? And for whatever reason, those things are attracted to each other. And sometimes things just happen that way. I don't have any science behind it necessarily, but trying to pull out little things from time to time are incredibly important. And I will share something that is my father has shared with me. So my father is a Vietnam vet. He served in Vietnam on the ground. He was injured. He had a spinal cord injury. Um, he saw some things that he has shared with me because he's a pretty open person that I don't know how I would be functioning, but quite honestly, he's a very functional person. He came back after the war. He regained his ability to walk, and he went on to be a director of a medical device company and had me, and we lived our lives and everything was all in all good. But one thing he did say about it is that I've often asked him, and recently asked him because my son was doing a report on Vietnam for school. And my dad said, I asked my father, I said, just remind me again, Dad, how did you get through that? Like, or were you okay? And his response was, I try to focus on the good things. I try to focus on the people that I met, on the kindness of others. And he was tell stories about a young boy named Pierre who would help him and help keep him safe. A 12-year-old boy that was a native Vietnamese boy who would, as my dad was only 19 at the time, who would kind of talk to him and tell him where to go and what to do and what he should, where to stay safe. He talks about other people that he met, his bunkmates and people like that who he had never met from different parts of the country and their outlook on things. And he shared people would send little gift bags and things from their parents, and they would sit around and share them. So my dad also talks about, the lush landscape, and then it was very beautiful. And he spoke about the beautiful ceremonies and Vietnamese weddings that he saw and how beautiful they were. So anyway, trying to find something in the darkness, something, a little bit of light. And I suppose, I don't know if I could have done it, but um, I'm not sure you can find much more difficult circumstances to find that. So, and here is a location that I would find a lot of gratitude. I just thought I would share that. A beautiful sunset, or I think I'm going to say sunset. There's a moment sometimes if you just can't find anything in your day bring to be grateful for, because we all have those days. Take a few breaths, bring yourself back to center, get into nature, take a walk outside if you can, let the sun hit your face, maybe even pour a cup of tea or coffee, and just breathe. Kind of almost take yourself to a place like this. So that brings me to being grateful in difficult times. Um, it's not all sunshine and kitty cats, little kittens. Things happen. Life, there's not always a rainbow. Like, things happen. So it doesn't mean ignoring these hard moments. It doesn't mean saying that things aren't happening, because that's not necessarily healthy either. But just not dwelling on those moments. Not dwelling on it, and trying to find the light within the darkness. So finding that steadiness, finding maybe lessons that are there for you uh, to learn. Um, Somebody said to me recently that, um, sometimes it's 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 the divine nature of life to sometimes not go along with your plan. So even challenging experiences, trust and know that there's another plan out there for us, and that maybe as much as we are in control, kind of roll with it from time to time. So while it's hard, this is such a balance to be grateful in difficult times, to be steady yet flexible, and to be open to learning lessons at the same time grounded. So it's this dichotomy of life that takes practice more than anything. But definitely not, again, not ignoring difficult things because it does happen, but acknowledging them and then trying to focus on the good stuff. So we just talked about this a little bit, or I just talked about it a little bit. Great ways to practice gratitude daily. I shared with you a journal that I not currently am keeping, but I have kept in the past, especially when things were a little bit difficult. I had my mother was sick and she was going through the process of dying. And that's when I was taking using that gratitude journal. I would write down things during the day, dump them out. Basically, it started because I didn't want to forget things. I didn't want to forget those moments. So I would do that, but then I would project on the next day, I was kind of take control of it in my mind. Like tomorrow this is what's gonna happen. I can't say that I didn't write down things like milk, or eggs, but I kind of tried to take control of it and give myself those moments and projecting how the next day would go. And often it would just be a one word, a little mantra like gratitude, like peace, like joy, any of those. So sometimes, so have it next to your bed and just kind of like, doesn't, no, it's for nobody else too. It's just for you. So it doesn't have to be um, perfect handwriting and complete sentences. It can be it's just for you. Another one would be pausing for mindful breathing, uh, always just stopping, taking a breath, and releasing, giving yourself space to do that, taking a moment in your day to say thank you, challenge yourself, and say thank you to someone who, especially someone in your household. A lot of times, uh, at least for me, I can say that I can get on people in my household in my family because, we're pretty comfortable with one another. But pausing to say thank you to them, it can change the dynamic. So I challenge you to stop and say thank you to someone today that you typically wouldn't. That you might even think, well, they should be doing that anyway, or that's how it is, or that's their job, or whatever it is. Really stop and say thank you and see how that feels. You might notice them stopping and noticing. You might not, but see how you feel after you appreciate whatever it is that they have done. It not only changes their day, but changes your own, changes, our own day. And then noticing simple comforts, probably one of my favorites, because what I'll do if I'm having a really tough day personally is I'll grab myself a cup of tea and stop and do something just like this. So I will grab a magazine, a book, again, a journal, I'll draw something, um, and just give a little bit of space. Yes, even scrolling on some sort of social media, depending on what your feed is filled with. I try to make sure my algorithm is, yeah, puppies and kittens because it's just the world is, can give you all kinds of stuff, but look through a little, start scrolling and see if you can get some recipes or some gardening tips or something, those simple things that we can go back to, enjoy quiet time making a meal. That can be sometimes given those are tasks, but maybe there is joy to be had. I just recently saw a quote from Mother Teresa, and I was trying to inspire my kids to uh, help with dishes more. And one of the quote was, "Wash the dish because the next person to use it you love deeply." And it was something of that nature, and so I have printed it out, and my kid I remind him, I just point to it now on the fridge when they complain. So I'm sure they'll tell my grandchildren will tell me about this later. But, the idea that there can be pleasure and there can be at least contentment in mundane things, and it is it is a gift. It is a gift. Bringing me to things to be grateful for. We all have different levels of each of these in our lives. But, our health, our breath, we're breathing currently, so continuing to do that. People that support us, whether it's now, in the past, reflecting on supportive people. I love going out into nature, getting a little sunlight, being able to rest for a moment, taking a pause. There's something really wonderful about taking your shoes off at the end of the day and taking a breath and laying in our bed and going to sleep. That is a moment. And personal growth too. Don't forget to, thank yourself for whatever you've done to make yourself better than you were yesterday. So and we all, again, if you notice that little graph there, does go up and down. So we're all works in progress. So just in closing, until we get to go into our meditation right now, gratitude is really a gentle shift in attention. And again, I love the word gentle because it's not like, okay, oh, I didn't do it. Don't be hard on yourself. Like go back and, integrate one of the things that I have mentioned. One of the things, whether it be say thank you to someone today, whether it be start a journal, whether it be really taking a deep breath when you put your feet up tonight and just bringing that inward and reflecting and bringing it really into our heart, that gratitude. Over time, it can transform how we feel, how we experience the world, how we experience others in our relationship with them, and the world in general. It looks a little brighter when we do it that way. So, with that being said, I'm going to just guide you all in a little bit of a meditation today. So today's meditation is I have to say before I start it, it does feel a bit repetitive. And each time that we do stop and pause and say thank you to something or say thank you to something in our lives, we're going to stay long enough. Thank you. It'll be recorded too. Thank you. It'll be long. We have to go ahead and just pause and try to stop and take a breath with each thing. It can be pretty challenging, I must admit. So I am going to I don't wanna let's see if I don't think that the music, comes on for whatever reason. It gets, kind of taken off. I do like a little music in the background, but I don't know if it will work. Again, that picture was fully chosen by a member of my family who is smaller. So let's see what we can muster up and see if the music works. I don't know. Sometimes it blocks it out. I'm wondering if it will. You can always turn it off. We're going to go ahead and sit up nice and tall and find a nice comfortable position. So I am gonna turn my camera off only to get the maximum sound and things. Sitting up nice and tall in a nice comfortable position, not trying to strain or stress any part of our body, but sitting up and feeling the strength of our bodies. We're going to start by taking 3 nice deep breaths in, breathing in, and releasing. Another nice deep breath in. Let it go. And one more nice deep breath in, really expanding the lungs. And releasing. As we reflect on gratitude, there is no need to do anything specific here, no need to accomplish anything. There is no right or wrong. Just letting our thoughts come in and recede naturally. And focusing our center for a moment and focusing our attention right on the center of the body and the heart. And as we focus on the heart, just noticing that rhythmic beating of the heart. We're going to pause for a moment to say thank you to our heart for its strength. Thank you to our heart for the love it brings into our lives. Sitting for a moment at the center of our body, at the center of gratitude. Taking another nice deep breath in. And releasing. We now will offer gratitude to ourselves, to the world around us, one piece at a time, with the words thank you. Just as we breathe, we're breathing 3 times. We're going to say thank you 3 times. Thank you. Again, thank you. Taking another nice deep breath in. Thank you for the gift of this air that sustains me. Thank you for blessing me with another day of this beautiful life. Thank you for this gift of life. Taking another nice deep breath in. And releasing. Thank you for food, for nourishing food. Thank you for clean water to drink, and to bathe in. Thank you for my home. Thank you for my clothing, the warmth it brings, the protection. Thank you for restful sleep. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my coworkers who support me. Thank you for my community, for the people that surround me day in and day out. Thank you for providing me with my gifts, my talents, and my time, and allow them to continue to grow as I grace others with my existence. Thank you for the warmth and the light of the sun. Taking another nice deep breath in here and pausing to really feel that warmth glow into our heart and letting it expand, letting it grow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And again, if thoughts come into our mind, continuing for a few more moments to really expand this gratitude practice and appreciate our body, appreciate our health. Thank you for my body just as it is. Thank you for my body's ability to heal, to repair. Thank you for its resilience. Thank you for my health. Thank you for my sensitivities. Thank you for the times that my body was failing me, any illnesses or afflictions, as this has helped me be empathetic to others. It has helped me to go deeper spiritually, and helps me appreciate the health that I do have. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Take one more nice deep breath in and release it. And as we near the end of this meditation, We will now turn our focus on the world around us, on nature, especially this time of year when things are growing and blossoming. Thank you for the beauty and the wisdom of nature. Thank you for the magnificence of the trees. Thank you for the splendor of the flowers. Roses, peonies, daisies. Thank you for the peace of still waters. Thank you for the joy of the small babbling brooks and the deep energy of the waves of the ocean. Thank you for the animals of the world, for their beauty, their wisdom, their joy, their playfulness. Thank you for the birds and the dogs and cats and deer. Thank you for all of the creatures, as we are all part of a bigger picture. Thank you for the moon and the stars. Thank you for the cool breezes and the warm sun. Thank you for the silence. Thank you for this world. Thank you for the gift of air that gives us light and life and sun, all of which brings us this life we know, and it sustains us. Thank you for blessing us with another day of life. Thank you for the gift of life. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Pausing for the next few moments just to reflect and breathe into the heart once again. Taking another nice deep breath in and releasing. And I would not be doing my job if I didn't also close this meditation with one more thank you, which is thank you for you. Thank you for joining me. And thank you for being open to trying something new or expanding your practice. And I also would have to say thank you to my dog who joined me. So if you heard sounds as we were going through that meditation, it was just my old grumbly little dog. So he seems to do that. So thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully you can take some of these ideas, practices, moments. And again, if I can give you one thing to take with you, as we had a refrain during that meditation, was to repeat thank you 3 times in a row. That triad of breaths, the triad of things can always bring us back to center. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.